Well, hello everyone, my name is Manuel Andrade and I'm here to talk to you about Venezuela and its landscapes. First, we're gonna know where is Venezuela and all the territory of Venezuela. So first, Venezuela is ubicated in South America, and in the borderlines we have in the north the Caribbean Sea, in the south we have Brazil, in the east we have the Guyana, and in the west we have Colombia. The total expansion of Venezuela is 916,000 kilometers, and in this territory we divided into 8 different regions, and each region has a different wildlife and a different vegetation. So the first region that we're gonna see is the coastal range, and we we have to mention that this region is in the capital of the country, and we name this region because it's the one facing the coast, but we do not take all the borderline facing the coast. We only take the mountain areas facing the coast. Well, the wildlife here is a really diverse wildlife, but the vegetation is not as much vegetation as other regions, and it's kind of dry vegetation. The next region that we have is the Orinoco Delta region, and this region took the name because it's in contact of the Orinoco River, and we have to mention that the Orinoco River is one of the largest rivers in the world. So the wildlife here and the vegetation here is mostly a marine vegetation and a marine wildlife due to the river. The next region that we have is the Lake Maracaibo Depression. This region followed the example of the last region because they took also the name because they are in contact to the Maracaibo Lake, but it's a really big difference between lakes because this one it's in an extremely high level of pollution, so the wildlife and vegetation in this region is really in a very low level. The next region that we have is the Lara Falcon Formation. I have to mention that the Lara state is where I was born, and well, this region the weather it's a really neutral weather because um, but it let us. I mean, the weather here it's a really neutral weather because we have in our borderlands regions that are maybe fresh and other ones that are really hot. So it depends of the time of the year how is going to be the weather. And the wildlife here, we don't this kind of region it's a really low level of wildlife. The most wildlife that we can find here is only for farms and things like that. The next region that we have is the Guyana. Oh, sorry. Yeah, is the Guyana region. Uh, this region is the largest region in Venezuela, and it takes all the Amazonian relief. So, thanks to the Amazonian, we can find a really diverse wildlife here, and the vegetation is also a really diverse vegetation, but mostly it's a ground vegetation, not marine vegetation. The next one that we have is the insular region. This region is composed by only one state and the federal dependencies of this state, and we can find it in the north of the country because it's an island. Uh, and the weather and vegetation here is mostly coast vegetation and weather, and the wildlife is marine wildlife. The next one that we have is sorry is the Andes region. This region is the most touristic region in the country because the weather of this region is a really cold weather and fresh weather, so we can find uh, different kinds of plants and vegetation here. They are mostly littoral plants because this region is the highest region in the country, so that's why it's the most it's the most touristic region in the country. And the last one region, it's the plain, but this one is the last one, but not the less important, because thanks to the plain, well, we have all the in the plains is located all the farms and all the companies producing the food for the country, all like cows, pigs, that kind of animals. And also we have to mention that this one is the driest and least vegetative region in Venezuela. So thank you so much for your attention and see you.